Hello and welcome to Stuttering, Demystified, hosted by Melnitsky. I'm a speech language pathologist. I'm a stuttering specialist. I'm an ADHD life coach. And most importantly, I am a person who stutters and who used to stutter very severely. And I am so excited. This is episode 1. And I wanted to talk to you. What this episode is about is how I became a speech language pathologist. And I think it's a message really more than that. Not so much that I was an accountant and became a speech language pathologist. It's a message about hope. It's a message about perseverance and believing in oneself. So I really hope this helps you. It actually helps me because I have to rehash it, or I want to, and I think it will help all of us really move forward in life and inspire you, or I'm hoping so. So I'm just going to tell you that I started stuttering at the age of 4, and it ran in my family because my father stuttered also. And at a young age, I was aware that I was different. I spoke differently. I couldn't say my name. And I also had curly hair that I always wanted to have straight hair. So at a young age, I felt like I was different than everybody else. And in elementary school, I was aware that I couldn't raise my hand to ask for the hall pass to go to the ladies' room. And when they went around the room to ask people to read out loud, the anxiety inside of me rose because I did not want to be found out as a person who stutters. So I did everything I possibly could. I hid in the back of the room. I chose a seat in the back of the room. I would put my curly hair in front of my face. And really, I wanted to disappear because what if I was found out? And what if people started laughing at me? And what if they didn't want to be friends with me? So that was really hard. But I was very fortunate in the sense that I had a supportive family. I have a brother who's 4 years younger than me. So my parents and my brother were very, very supportive, and they never really treated me as someone different or someone who stutters. Fast forward to really by the time I got to be maybe almost 12 or 13, my father owned a pharmacy, which in some ways I think just taught me things to really overcome so much in life. It was probably one of the most important jobs at a young age that I ever had. And even though I stuttered, there wasn't that much help, honestly, for stuttering at that time, or that much knowledge about it. And I did get a little help in middle school, but I did arts and crafts projects most of the time, and I didn't know how that was helping me. And there's one instance that I remember that my mother had called the school and said, my daughter's really stuttering a lot. She's blocking on words and she's repeating words and she just can't get her message out. And they said, okay, we'll do an evaluation. And I remember sitting in a music class trying to learn how to read music, which was not going really well. And all of a sudden I heard, Lori Melnitsky, will Lori Melnitsky please report to the speech office for an evaluation? And I said, I cannot believe they're announcing this. I'm going to fall on the floor. I don't know what to do. The music teacher didn't know me by name. So I was like, all right, I can make believe that I'm hiding, nobody will notice me. But my friends obviously knew me and said, you have to listen to the announcement. So I kind of put my coat over my head. I grabbed my books and kind of slid down the hallway against I can even feel it almost against the shiny tiles on the wall. and crawled into this speech room. And I remember thinking, no matter what this speech therapist asks me, I'm just going to answer yes or no, because I'm not letting my secret out. If I have to only say words that I know are going to be fluent, then that's what I'm going to do. So that's what I did. And the speech therapist called my mom and said, she doesn't need therapy. She doesn't even stutter. And then I came home that day and stuttered up a storm, and I was hysterical and embarrassed and humiliated. But working at my father's store really was a game changer, because I was a cashier. I had to answer phones and say, Modern Pharmacy, can I help you? And I knew that early on that was hard for my father also. And I knew that the more he did it, the easier it became. And he became and is my role model, because I knew if he could do it, even though it was hard now, and there were hard moments, that I could do it also. So I worked there for many years. It did get easier. I started to have confidence. I just figured out ways of somehow getting the words out, and I somehow realized, but I don't think I really realized at the time, that fear was blocking me. So in high school, in my senior year, I took an accounting class, and I struggled in high school, academically. I didn't find it overly interesting, and I just was like hiding all the time, trying not to speak. I was fortunate that I had some good friends, and I did have a pretty strong social life, but I was hiding, and it just wasn't productive. So I did well in this one accounting class, and I thought, that's it. It's my senior year. I found what I like. I love it. I think it was like I got like a 90 something in the class, and I didn't get many 90s because, to be honest, I don't think my focus and attention span was there. And it wasn't just stuttering, which I realized many years later. I think it was undiagnosed ADHD, and I didn't know, and I'll explain that in another episode. So there was more going on there than I knew. So I went to Hofstra, and I was like, I found my life. And I started school. I started college, and I was in a sorority, and I loved it. And I was kind of floating through academically, but I didn't love accounting, and I didn't love business. But by the time I realized I was in my junior year. I had gotten some help for my stuttering at that point. I started to get a little bit more fluent, but I still didn't really have too much confidence in myself overall. But I graduated college, I got a job, and I was working as an accountant for about 5 years. And again, I felt like I was like in this dark cave in a mountain, and I just was afraid. Like, I was hibernating almost, but I was hibernating all year. I wasn't coming out. People would ask me what I do, and I had to like push out the words accounting, and then I would be like, no, I don't like it. And I was like, what am I going to do? I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't want to be in a field that isn't for me. I mean, I was only maybe 24, 25. So I started to become very involved in the National Stuttering Association, and I've been reading things from the Stuttering Foundation of America from a young age, and I'm really so grateful that this information was out there, because I didn't feel alone. So I started getting involved in many meetings, and I really loved it. I loved helping others. I love the inspiration, and I decided, having a friend, my dear friend Lisa, who stutters also and became a speech language pathologist, also became another role model of mine. And I decided I was going back for my master's. And once I decided it, that was it. I was going back for my master's in speech pathology. I knew in some ways I was stuttering so severely that I had to find some ways of getting help. I did get help, although I was still stuttering a lot. And to make a long story short, I had to take 20 credits of prerequisites before I got accepted into a graduate program. And I knew that academically I had to do well. I had to prove it to them, but really I had to prove it to me, because I had to know that I could go back and study hard and do really well. And I did. And I got A's. And at the end of that, I needed recommendations to go to grad school. And at a local university, 2 of the professors said, I don't care that you did really well academically. You are a smart person, but you can't speak. And you are not going to be able to communicate. And you're not going to be able to work with families or people who stutter. So, of course, I was devastated, but I knew my friend Lisa had done it, and I knew the field was started by speech pathologists who stutter, like Charles Van Riper and Joseph Sheehan. And I also read this book called The Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck that I found was life-changing. And I really felt like I'm not going to just lead this road that everybody thinks I should lead. This is my life. And it's so important to believe in oneself. And I had to believe in me. And luckily, my family did also. And I went to Hofstra University, and they welcomed me with open arms. And I made it through grad school academically. I did well, but to be honest with you, I still was having a really hard time communicating. And I'm going to go into this in future podcasts, what helped me. But I just want to tell you that it was a journey. And it was a real journey in not just communication, but in learning skills like not to be so hard on myself, not to try and be perfect all the time, to try and praise myself, to try and get self-gratification from inside me. And if someone else commented on me, that wasn't allowed. They weren't allowed. I didn't allow negativity. Other people who are negative are not allowed to be in my life, because we have to keep grounded. So I'm going to keep going in future episodes. I want to thank you for listening. I promise you, I have so much more that I can share with you. I am going to post below, especially for speech language pathologists. I have a free, frequently asked questions you can download. There's going to be a school age stuttering boot camp below. And also, if you do need one-on-one coaching or speech pathology, you can contact me also. So I'm going to leave that all below. And I'm going to leave you with one thing. The victory in life is showing up. It's not doing it perfect. The victory in life is showing up for yourself. So have a great day. And thank you so much for listening.